My name is Martha.
Hi, Martha.
I'm so glad to be here on this bright sunny day and to welcome all of you today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for asking us.
And so I want to say hello to, we have some people in here I haven't seen for a while and a newcomer, so I want to welcome the newcomer and introduce myself. I am Martha, and I am the sister of Lazarus in the Bible, so that way you can identify who I am. I am Marilyn's gatekeeper, and I try to do the best for her and keep her safe and who comes through, so she has a safe, when she's in trance and channeling, that she's in the safest place possible. And I've tried to do a good job, and I think I have, so we're just knowing and glad you're all here too to join us.
Thank you.
Well, I want to say hello to Nancy and the fellow next to you, and would you like to introduce yourself to me?
I'm AC.
AC, glad to meet you. And Nancy, it's been a long time.
Lovely to be here.
Well, it's lovely to have you. And your person next to you, it's been a long time since I've seen you, Linda.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Well, we're so glad you came. And Mac, you're the tried and true who shows up and helps with everything.
Yes. Do you have a time limit that you want Marilyn to stay in trance today?
Well, that's not a problem like it used to be, Mac. Thank you for asking. But that has changed, and she's going to be just fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our next person, Jeannie, has not been here for a while, and good to see you again.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
And our person that helps us out with the video, Sue, we're so glad you're here.
Great to be here.
Thanks for coming so far. You have to travel and bear the traffic.
I do.
Yes, well, I hope it was a safe route today.
It was.
And we have another person who's been to every channeling except maybe a couple. How are you today, Darcy?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. Your energy's always welcome.
Thank you.
And another person we haven't seen for a while. How are you, Paulette?
I'm well. Thank you, Martha.
Well, it's so good to have you back, and we're glad to have you in the fold.
Thank you.
And Arnold, how are you doing today?
Great to see you, Martha. I'm wonderful, thank you.
Well, it's good to see you too, Arnold. You're looking better all the time, and you know what I mean.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad you're here. And I'm just going to say welcome again, and I'm going to bow out so John can come in. And if you have some questions, we're going to give you a chance today to ask them. That was what was sent out for you. So if you have a few questions, we'll be glad to entertain them. And have a great afternoon. Enjoy yourselves.
Thank you, Martha.
Toodaloo.
Hello.
Well, I just want you to know that everybody here is going to be happy campers because the best is yet to come.
Oh, great, Martha. Bless you,
Okay, I want to say toodaloo and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
I am John the Divine,
Hi,
John.
Hi,
John. Glad to see you.
and I'm so glad to be here on this lovely day and have such a lovely group of people joining us. Thank you for coming, and we're glad to see every one of you and glad to have those people back and new faces. It's all just a delight because all your energy is wonderful today, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And we know that today we're going to ask if anyone had any questions, so we have a chance to do that right now, and then we'll have a message later. So if there is a question, feel free to speak up.
I've got one, something that came into my mind this morning, John.
All right.
When you pass from the physical into the spiritual, where you no longer need physical energy from the earth to support your body, I would assume that you totally lose the sense of hunger. It would no longer exist. Is that correct?
Eventually that happens over time, yes. Manna in the prana that you breathe in sustains you as far as nourishment. And you read the books, Lives and Teachings of the Masters, where they only met together for banquets or ate if they chose to. And as you move into spirit, that's what happens. Your appetites are less necessary in the physical realm. There actually has been a few people on earth that were able to manifest that kind of nourishment from spirit and survive without physical food. One of them, if you want to read about a very fascinating story about that, is the Yogalanda's story.
Paramahansa Yogananda?
Yes.
Autobiography.
Autobiography, yes, of Yogalanda. So if you want to read about that in a book form and hear and understand it a little better, you might enjoy that book, Matt.
Thank you. I assume Marilyn has a copy.
She'd be glad to share it with you.
Thank you.
That was,
I have a question.
yes.
My family's in a time of change.
Yes.
And we want to start something new that will not just financially sustain us, but more importantly, help us travel in the world and do good things. And I was wondering if you know about this, if there's a big plan, or if it's just all a dream.
Well, I think it's a marvelous dream, and your intention is where your desires come from to manifest. So your intention is entirely up to you, and the intensity that you proclaim and claim that desire is wonderful. I think that to be able to help others and move out from your local sphere of where you're working is what we're all about. Coming into the fifth dimension is unity and cooperation and family and community, and we're there to be of service to those around us and come together in that love that is already there. So as you create your financial sustaining to do that, and in doing that, you have declared that that's what you want to do, Paulette. So now the ethers, the universe, can come together and produce the typical necessary details to put that together for you. You don't have to necessarily plan it out to detail, but put out your intention, so the universe knows what your plans are and what you so desire, and the universe can manifest that. It might come back to you in a way different than you expected, but it will still be the same opportunity, but with maybe a different coating on it. So you don't want to be too specific, because the universe knows what's best for you, and your problems or lack of problems in getting to that situation where you can actually feel you are involved with that predicament that you've described, that project. So we applaud you. The finances will appear. Interestingly enough, Marilyn has a project and she wondered how she was going to pay for it, and all of a sudden, guess what? A bonus showed up she had no idea was going to occur. And when she meditated, and it says, well, that's what the money's for. So I have a feeling that you will have a similar experience where finances will appear to support your efforts, and you might not realize they are in the making right now. So just know that if you trust the universe to supply your needs and know that it is there in the manifestation, coming into reality, into the physical, and trust that it can occur.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
Concerning the book that is about ready to go out. What do you see around that book? Is it going to be accepted?
Well, your circle will start small by going to groups that are like-minded. And as you find acceptance in those groups, your circle will widen into not just like-minded people, but bookstores possibly. other areas that would be open to a presentation that is right now not in the mainstream. But they can relate with your stories, Darcy.
Right.
That's the beautiful part of memoirs. If you're not preaching to them, you're sharing. And people will hear that energy of what you've accomplished and overcome and how your trials and tribulations have made you a better person today and brought you into a new place of understanding and peace of mind that they are looking for. So they will be searchers, and you will have a lot of people that will be finding your book very supportive and very comforting that they can do it too. So I see your circle broadening over time, and that you will have and acquire and attract a larger audience as the book becomes more out there. You might choose to find some places to get it reviewed, because that's important to get the public first, even though it's available, and to start out by just letting your email friends know that it's available, and it is, and making whatever announcements and flyers, leaving them at bookstores, and seeing, you know, where you can have chances to give a little talk. And it might be groups that are not spiritually minded, but if you come from this was overcoming adversity. Most people are interested in overcoming their adversity, and there you would have a foothold into maybe a new audience. So that could expand your horizons.
Great. Kind of the book publisher that I've chosen does send the book. It goes out to bookstores all over the world. So, and I have some other things that I think I shared with your channel, ways that both of us can get our books out. But that helps me to know how it's going to start. And I'm beginning to feel very, very positive and very excited about it.
Well, you have worked very hard, Darcy, and you have a lot of spiritual support around you to see that this adventure of yours and this project you've been working on will actually meet the hands of those who want to read it. And always remember, the people that are supposed to read it will be the right ones.
Exactly. I understand that. Thank you so much, John.
You're so welcome.
John, I want to thank you for all the help you've given me over the past almost 2 years, and helping me see things as they are and see the role that everyone's played to help me. And I can now take care of my mom, and I just wanted to thank you for that.
Well, Jeannie, you have grown. Oh, your aura is so much more brilliant. You had a very small connection spiritually at one point, and I can see that your efforts have totally taken on an expansion of your aura and your energy, so that you are generating a much healthier energy than you've had in the past. You have made great strides, Jeannie, and the only change is within, and you are doing it. I want to commend you to say not only did you show up, but you actually are doing the work, and that is absolutely wonderful. So many people, as Marilyn calls it, warms the chair, but doesn't actually put it into practice, and you are doing that. And that you are able to handle this with your mother is a victory, Jeannie, a true victory. So congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
I would like to make a comment on that too. Because,
Yes.
you know, John, that I haven't seen her for quite a while either. And when she walked up to me, I could feel the change that had come over her, and it was exciting. So bless you for,
Thank you.
because I know that we're all growing and changing, but it's exciting when we see each other, you know, in that mode.
Yes. And I want to share that as I grow and overcome things, and I'm able to share the joy, and that's
yeah, that's wonderful.
That's
And
important.
I'm so grateful too the channel because she's my confidant and she's the one that I can go to talk to.
Yes,
And
right.
we change chats once in a while, so she talks to me too. So it's exciting. This is an exciting time to be in. And I told God the other day that I really want to stay here for a while now. You know, for 70 some odd years I wandered off this planet, but I've decided I really want to stay around because it's getting more exciting every day.
Well, that's what our talk is about today, Darcy, so I'm so glad to hear that you've made that change in your decision and will join us on the happy road into the new age.
Thank you.
John, if I may ask a question?
You sure may.
I was watching some YouTubes today on the value and therapy of alkaline water in treating malignant conditions and so forth. Is that something that you would suggest I should follow up on?
I think that's an excellent idea. You see, alkaline systems are neutrally based in the diseases and problems in your system that people call medical cannot survive in an alkaline system. If you're involved with Edgar Casey's diet and those kinds of ways to keep your system alkaline, usually that produces and actually supports that health you're looking for, Arnold. So yes, I would recommend it heartily. You might also want to do what Marilyn does. And she has, instead of love and appreciation on her water, she has God. And as some of you know, the water elements will adapt to the words that they're exposed to because of the work of Dr. Emoto. He has slides showing water crystals that have had damaging words around them, and the crystals are sadly yucky. And wonderful praising words in God and pristine places where the water has been collected and has crystals and slides of this beautiful structures that are absolutely magnificent. So water is what your system is made of, and as you put into your system healthy water, your system supports your health. So not only in eating foods that retain alkaline in your digestive system, but the water will make a huge difference in your health also, because you are putting in the healthiest water you can. Marilyn fortunately lives in a water district of natural water springs, and it's been declared the healthiest, safest water in the United States through an actual contest that was held nationally. So the healthiest water you can get is not necessarily in a bottle. They do not have regulations on that, and water can be taken from any source, sometimes right out of a tap and sold as bottled water. So I would suggest that the water you use is extremely important for your health and supporting, overcoming the old energies, lower energies. Sadly, many waters today are chlorinated and other chemicals are put in. Marilyn fought with her water company against the chlorination of the water district. This was coming from the dark sources, and it was obviously they did not get their way in this case. And more people are becoming aware of healthy water and how important it is, because even fluoride in the water can actually lower the IQ of children. Isn't that sad that they want to do that to children? And of course it would affect you in toxic ways also. So do be aware of the water you drink. What a wonderful topic, Arnold. We could move on into that area, but there is a very funny video on YouTube about Penn and Teller. I think we like to have a little humor sometimes. Penn and Teller set up a restaurant in a very popular city and had instead of a wine list, they presented the people with a water list. Now, unbeknownst to the people sitting at the table and observing the different waters that were listed and from the exotic places from which they came, And the prices on the bottles of different denominations, because some were supposedly more healthy than others. And the people would select the wine they wanted to taste. And after they had selected their choice of water for the dinner, at the end of the dinner they were told, after drinking the water, thinking this was just absolutely marvelous water, that all of the bottles, all of them had been filled, that they had tasted and tested, had come from the water hose behind the restaurant.
Oh.
So you see how easily people can be fooled by putting a fancy label on a bottle, and it's not necessarily what you think it is.
It's not Perrier.
It's not necessarily Perrier. So just read your labels, know what you're getting, and you don't have to pay a high price for quality water.
John, is this water that Maryland's district had here, is it also highly alkaline?
Yes, definitely,
Uh-huh.
definitely. It is chemical free.
Thank you.
Any other questions today?
I may ask a question for Nancy.
Oh, you certainly, if she wants you to.
She has two paths to go down and she's not sure. I think she's pretty well headed down a certain one, but she's wondering if it's the right choice.
Well, it sounds like you're a very good sister. And you have taken it upon yourself to help her, right?
I am only offering her the choices. It's her decision.
Well, if she chooses to ask John for advice or information that would help her, that's her choice. And your choice is to love her and wish her the best in her decisions.
Thank you.
I hope that you still love her and want to support her, but her choices and decisions are the right ones for her, and they will be the right ones that she selects, because she has the opportunity to always change direction. If she realizes it's going in a place where it's a brick wall and she can't seem to get things to budge, well, then turn left. So Nancy, if you choose to speak more to that, it's up to you, but I would like your sister to know that I know she loves you very much and has your best interests, and it's her turn to worry and take care of herself today and get her own questions out there. Do you have a question for yourself, Linda?
Is there a better way to get myself in balance?
Ah, what a wonderful question. There are so many ways to address that question that everybody can benefit from. Most people are in extreme running around, you might say chasing their tail, or on the wheel that goes around and around like in a cage, and that's because it's called survival. And you feel like if you do stop, the world will come to an end, and if you don't continue in your overachieving or being a workaholic, bustling around being extremely busy, that you're not being productive and you aren't worthy. And balance comes from learning how to have also rest, relaxation, recreation, enjoying just maybe a sunny afternoon in your backyard. So take time out and pace yourself so that you have fun activities, and you can make and build into your schedule some activities that would be creative, a hobby, something that takes your mind off of your daily routine of your whatever projects and work that you need to accomplish for whatever you're needing to do in supporting yourself, but also to find time out for creativity and chance to get in touch, possibly meditate, is a wonderful way to balance your life. Another option that is becoming very popular is grounding. Edgar Casey made a grounding device and gave the directions for this many, many years ago in his readings. And it has not really come into its own until recently. There was a video on YouTube about grounding, a marvelous video to explain it and show the wonderful benefits and how it does help balance your life and actually produces life-giving forces for you to actually improve and raise your consciousness. There are various ways to ground besides the Edgar Casey radio device, such as there are some bracelets you can get on the internet and plug into your electrical outlet that has a 3-pronged grounding part to it. So grounding, going out and just walking in the bare grass. It was really interesting when Marilyn watched A Pretty Lady, the movie recently. They took a day off from work and went to the park and he was walking in the grass, which is grounding. So that is a wonderful balance in your life. So do those things that bring balance because you're trying to come from one extreme to the center. And the problems with addictions is it's either all one side or all the other side, and as you, like a pendulum, move through the center of the truth and reality of what you're trying to accomplish, you end up moving into extreme the other way. So do not always sleep and rest or always meditate, but try to find a balance in the center so you have a variety of activities that are constructive for your life. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, remember? So you do not want to be dull. You are here on earth to enjoy. Include in joyful types of activities, whatever that means to you, where you can laugh and giggle and have fun and see the humor in all that has gone on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have we left anybody out?
No, I have a question about finances. I'm in a situation here where it's almost like I'm stuck, I'm blocked. I mean, I can't decide on what I need to do, what I want to do, or I'm just stuck. I just don't know how to get out of this.
Very good question, because some of that will be answered in the information given today, AC. Finances and relationships are the biggest problems on third dimension. And we look to those issues for our security and sustenance, which I will discuss in a few minutes about. So I would suggest that as you take the next best step that will be in your best interest financially, not to sabotage yourself, but to trust the universe will supply what you need, is what we're going to talk about here in a minute. Finances are very tough for people because our society in the third dimension has definitely been built in, if you don't have money, first of all, it's difficult to eat. We're still not eating the ethers, as we were discussing earlier. We're getting our nourishment that way yet. And so money is also a status symbol. It's also security for people. It's also the man who has the most toys wins kind of thing. You have more ability to buy and have manufactured items that you think will bring joy. So money is tied into so many things, and many people are in relationships because of money and the ties to money. So money is a very hot issue. And therefore it is one that does concern us. And this is exactly what we're trying to change in our talk today. So I suggest that as we move on, you will probably get some very interesting answers about that, which will maybe cause you to look at where you are in your consciousness of money and raise it into a higher, trusting consciousness that will provide.
Thank you.
John, may I intercede here for a second?
Yes.
One thing I just want to throw out for everybody actually is the natural law class that we have on Saturday nights at Camp Edgewood. And there we learn a lot about the natural law of drawing finances to yourself or anything that you want. We're in a book now that was written by one of the members of the National Spiritualist Association, and it goes into 20 or 30 different parts of natural law. And there are a lot of books, the Esther Hicks books, that have to do with that. And those might help you, and I'm going to pass the talking stick back to John so he can continue.
Thank you, Darcy. I suggest that after our channelings, that kind of information would be most helpful to include it at the end of our talking in our trance state, but we do appreciate the information.
Thank you.
May I please add something?
Yes.
At a different channeling time, I was given the advice to wrap my arm around my daughter when we go walking places, that she likes that.
Yes.
Because I was, struggling about how to make my relationship not as, not tenuous, but delicate, and that I started doing that, and she just blends into my side, and we just go strolling wherever we go, and we get in a step with each other, and I just want to say thank you very much for that, because it made an incredible difference in our relationship, that simple gesture. Wow. So I really appreciate that.
I remember that time you came for healing, Paulette, when you were told that.
Yeah.
And I am so pleased with your feedback. I could feel the energy that as you were sharing about that, just is amazing. And so thank you for the feedback.
You're welcome. It's really opened up a lot more communication between us, and she's becoming a woman now. She's 12, and our relationship is really much more solid and fun. Thank you.
You are so welcome, but again, you have done the work to make it happen. You just didn't hear the words, you applied it, and I applaud you for taking the risk, because we're all looking for love. That's what we came to Earth to experience. And most of us looked in the wrong places, and that's basically what the talk's about today. So I would like to move on unless there's another question.
I do have a question.
All right.
I'm in a situation right now to where I have to make a decision whether or not I want to be involved or not. And this would be for my mother-in-law and my ex-mother-in-law. And I think I choose not to be involved because it's not very good for my karma or all of those things. I've been trying to live my life and make the right decisions and do the right thing. And I've had a very big change in my lifetime in the last year. But I don't think that I want to be involved in this, but I don't know if it's something that I should be involved in.
Well, do you trust yourself to make a good decision about it?
I have very strong opinions.
All right. I would say not to put yourself in a place to be hurt. Is it a harmful place for your well-being?
It's an executive.
A place for your well-being. Will you benefit and grow from this, and can you learn from it, or are you doing it out of obligation and guilt?
Obligation and guilt are in there. I don't know if guilt is in there. Keeping my word would be an important thing.
So you made a decision that you would do this at one time in the past.
I was asked if I would do this because I was a fair and equal person.
And you wanted to be Miss Wonderful and people pleaser and jumped right in and said yes.
Bingo! No, I just wanted to be a good person about it. And now the people that are involved maybe not be one person is not a good person.
I do not see it as the best opportunity for you.
Bless you, thank you. No, it's important.
It's important to change decisions when you have gone astray. When you have found that you have done something that is not in your best interest or not going to support you in a healthy way. To put your energy into something that is draining you and will take you down and lose the progress you have made is not where you want to put yourself today.
That's very good.
And I applaud you for recognizing it might be time to change that decision. Relationships do change over time, and we do recognize our shortcomings at times of what we've done, and to have the opportunity today to love ourselves so much that we do not have to keep ourselves in those other old dimensions of being irresponsible.
Thank you, yes, I love life, I love having fun, I don't wanna have there's fun and then there's not fun. But
Well, I see some energy around it that is not in your best interest, and it would be a very trying situation to go through the time and energy involved. I do not see it as you would come out of that in the best way.
Thank you, I appreciate that very much.
You are so welcome. I think most everybody has spoke up, but one person, if there's still a question or concern.
Well, I don't have a question. I'm learning so much from listening to everyone. I've had the same situation of dealing with someone that is difficult to deal with, and I think backing away is a good answer for me. Just in small doses to deal with people like that. Just not huge doses.
Exactly. Protect yourself, keep yourself safe, and know that you are loving yourself to put yourself only in loving conditions and loving places. You see, you have options of to continue playing the old game you played or to change the rules. And Nancy, you are choosing to change the rules. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's fun, it's wonderful, it's thrilling.
We also mentioned that anyone could connect with someone passed over if they chose, so we will give you this opportunity.
Yes, may I please? I'd like to, Maria and Javier Alden passed away last year, and they had 3 boys on earth, and I made their uncle mad, and he won't talk to me, and but the boys are coming to church, and they seem to be doing well, but I want to know, how long do I need to like back off from the brother, the uncle, and are they getting enough care, and because they're not always at church, and so I really would like to know if I should just like have faith or.
So I'm confused that you want to talk to your friend.
Well, I'd like to know from my friend and her husband, who are in spirit, their perspective on how their boys are being cared for by our community. If there's anything in particular that we could get some advice on, or
Oh, very good.
whatever.
And her name is?
Maria. Maria Isabel Baldwin, and his name is Javier, but I didn't know him.
All right, Maria. Just give me 1 moment. Say her full name 3 times for me, please.
Maria Isabel Baldwin. Maria Isabel Baldwin. Maria Isabel Baldwin.
Yes, she is here. She wants to thank you for being so concerned. She thinks that's beautiful. She said that she has been concerned about things, but in her state where she is today, she is less concerned than she would have been. Those boys are going through the lessons they set up for themselves, and she knows she needs to keep her hands out of it so they have the chance to have the experiences necessary for their own soul growth. And the uncle is not as in tune spiritually, apparently, as she would like, but that's part of the lessons involved. So even though it is not what you would call a perfect situation, it is perfect for their spiritual growth, and to not worry about that, because they are on the paths necessary for them to change the energy in their consciousness that needs to be changed. And if someone interferes with their path, then they will still have to continue that path until they come to the point of recognizing it from their own understanding that these are things that need to be looked at and the energy shifted. So she's very thankful of you. She says, that is just admirable that you would be so concerned about her children. She just is amazed that you are so much focused into helping in this situation, and she just wants to thank you and say how blessed you are that you have such a compassionate heart and such a full heart to step out and see if you can be of help to others. She says the best help you can do is to send love to them. And when you do see them, let them know that you're there and you care. And if they ever need to contact you, you're available. But not to interfere with their day-to-day situations. Let them know that you're on their side, so to speak. You're supporting them, you love them, and you care about them. And if they ever have questions or worries, you'd be more than glad to see what you can do to help them out. And just love them from afar, so to speak, but be there in spirit and love so that she knows that they will have a place to go when if you plant the seed, that you're available, that you care. They will then know that when at the right time they can make a contact with you when it is appropriate, and that just to trust the universe that the situations will fall in place, and at the right time you probably will hear from them.
Thank you.
You are so welcome, and she wants to thank you for being so concerned, and she says, I never would have guessed that you would speak up and stand up this way for my boys, and she just thinks the world that you would do that. She wants to keep thanking you, thank you, she's saying. She loves you, and she wants you to know how loved you are, and that your heart is very big and good. And she would like to say goodbye, but thank you for asking.
Maren, John, can I have an opportunity to ask about my aunt who passed on?
You may.
Barbara June Christensen.
You want to say her name 3 times.
Barbara June Christensen. Barbara June Christensen. Barbara June Christensen.
And what is your concern in talking with her?
And does she have any advice for me to give to her son who's struggling now with all his decisions? And he's having a problem sleeping, and I'm concerned about his health. He's a financial analyst.
She says how much she loves you and cares about you, and that she is interested in seeing her boy have good health. And his health problems are a direct signal to him to look within for answers. That the health problems are really emotional problems, and that he needs to identify some long-standing issues he has not wanted to address, and that he needs to do some life-changing alterations as far as how he's handling some of his experiences. He's tuned out some of his intuition. He doesn't want to listen, and he's afraid to follow and trust himself. So if she's concerned about him, obviously, she would like you. Do you live where you physically are close to him, Jeannie?
He's in San Francisco.
That's what I was wondering. Do you ever email him?
Yes, we grew up as brother and sister pretty much, so we're very close.
Okay. I would suggest that she wants you to suggest to him, when you have loving quotes from some of the sources you tune into, such as Abraham and Urantia,
Good.
to pass those on, the ones that you feel are the least intimidating, or he really can't handle a really heavy hand, so to speak, right now. But just loving little comments that might come up and say, oh, I can brighten my day with that little thought. You know, it's like smelling the roses. He doesn't have the ability to handle something more with deep spiritual intent, let's put it that way.
And he seems to be open. I had Rose, our friend Rose, call him when she was in San Francisco, and he was thrilled, and he met with Rose in San Francisco.
Isn't that interesting? I said roses.
Yes, yes.
So isn't this interesting that it sounds like he is on the verge of opening up more and more. Now, I would like to explain something which is very important when I mentioned messages that would be just kind of to brighten his day. Rosebud is very tight because it's kept in a refrigerated unit in a florist shop, so it will stay as a rosebud. And it is chilly and cold to keep it closed because most people like to present others with their gift of rosebuds rather than open roses. But if you are to open to the sunlight and the love around you, those rosebuds will open. So as you send loving thoughts and loving communication, he's going to be that rosebud that comes out of the refrigerator into the sunlight, and he will be able to open up into the sunlight of the love around him, just like you would like for him. So your loving thoughts will make a great difference.
Thank you.
And she's so thrilled that you're asking in her behalf of how to handle and help him. So she wants you to know how much you're loved. And she sees your big heart and how filled it is with love for your relatives, and how she just thinks you're a wonderful lady, that she's just working really hard.
Oh, I miss her. I miss her very much.
Well, she really misses you, and she wants to thank you for your interest and your loving thoughts.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Marilyn has Martha as her gatekeeper, and I don't know if I could ask, but what is the name of my gatekeeper?
Ah. Let me have a moment. Your first gatekeeper will be Black Feather from the Blackfoot tribe, who is very advanced, very spiritual, and is one of your guides right now, but you have not really been connected to him. But you will have a spiritual experience where he will be leaving you black feathers. And that will be your first connection to knowing that he is with you.
Awesome.
We would like to move on right now to the message for today. Just give me one moment. The message today is about God's grace is sufficient. And it has taken years and years for all of you in this room to be ready for this time today. So congratulations. This is a very, very wonderful time in history. I wish to assist you in changing your consciousness into God's grace is sufficient today. As you know, Mother Earth has changed its consciousness into a higher consciousness of love. And for you to align with that higher consciousness of fifth dimension is important, because as you see, these other situations are coming up in your face to be resolved, which are of third dimension, because they are no longer sustainable in the new energy of Mother Earth. As you know, a lot of people are leaving the planet because they have not been able to align their energy into the fifth dimension. And I wish to choose to show you some examples of people today of how they've handled some of this and what maybe would help you to handle it and move forward in a maybe less frightening way of making these choices that are necessary. As you know, third dimension is no longer really an option. And many people, for many hundreds and thousands of years actually, have been living in a third dimensional consciousness, a low consciousness, of trusting the material things for their well-being. In fact, it has become so strong that that's what the money problems are, and the government problems, and the food problems of changing the food, etc. It's all about greed and power and third dimensional type of thinking, that it's necessary to have the most money or the power over people so that you are better than they are. And those are third dimensional types of thinking and values that no longer are sustainable. And they are not working for you today either, as some of you have mentioned. As you know, third dimension is in a physical form. And so as you move into a higher consciousness, it is gauged by your faith. Where do you put your faith? Have you put your faith in money? Have you put your faith in friendships? Have you put your faith in marriages? Have you put your faith in anything around you that is visible, tangible, and that you can hold on to? Put the money in the bank and it grows. If you have an account that you don't need to draw from, it can continue to expand. And some of you have done that very well. But it is still money, and it is tangible, and God can provide or take away anytime it is appropriate for your learning. So it's still not as secure for your emotional well-being as some of you have made it. So that is not really a viable place to put your faith like you have in the past. Some of you have been in relationships for the security, the emotional security, for fearing to live alone, fearing not to have that financial basis, finding out that it's lonely possibly until you change that consciousness and find out you've never been alone. But those old messages and conditionings have gone on for thousands of years to tell you you're supposed to listen to those things around you, outside of you. If it's medicine or churches or whatever, you're supposed to take their advice. We are moving into a consciousness where you are going to be listening to the God within and trusting that, not the material things that you can grasp in your hand, or that can, like money, can slip through your fingers if it's ill-gotten. So we are changing to what is real. We are moving out of the illusionary world. God did not make the third dimension. You came here and created it to see what it was like to find love and experience love. And in doing that, many forces around you have hoodwinked you into fear. And overcoming the fear and realizing what an illusion it is, many of you have accomplished that today. And if you still have some fearful issues in your life, I hope today we can dispel them, because there is no sin and there is no helplessness. In fifth dimension, that doesn't exist because it's not real. In fifth dimension of unconditional love, the Christ consciousness that already is within, and Jesus explained that to you last time, in that realm of reality, that is the reality that you are moving into and becoming a part of more and more on a daily basis, on a moment-to-moment basis. In fact, you only have this moment. That's the presence of God. And anything that is still hanging on emotionally is just between your ears and can be released and changed consciously by choice to release it. That's why the cord clearings are so important that Darcy does. So it's important to release all that old energy of fear and know that your faith in fear, many people say, well, I have a doubt about this. Release your doubts, release your fears, your worries, your shame. All of that is an illusion that keeps you out of your faith in a place you want it. Move your faith up the ladder. Some people call it Jacob's ladder in the Bible. Move your faith into what's real. There was a marvelous children's book years ago that said what you cannot see is real. That's where we're moving our focus to. That's where we're moving our faith into today. Into what's real but invisible. The invisible is the reality that you are rooted in the Christ. You have that energy inside. You are a piece of God. And anything that says otherwise is an illusion. So you see, your basis in faith has been in something that was not sustainable. And yes, fearing financial concerns is a very human aspect, but you are a spiritual person, and you can dispel the humanness and move more and more into spirit, where there might not be the form of the actual money in your hand, but you will eat, you will have a pet shelter over your bodies, you will find that your needs will be met, you will have all the necessary things you need, because if you seek ye first the kingdom of God, all things will be added. So rather than searching for the money and the material things that have sustained you in the past, it is time to change your faith into a faith that works. The faith in the third dimensional things has actually stopped your prayers from being answered. They are like blocks and barriers to energy moving. Fear stops energy from moving. Fear is not real. It is just a mindset that has been conditioned into you. And as you release that and move your eyesight out of a physical human eyesight into the eyes of God, you will no longer fear. All is in place. All is in perfect order. And gifts are offered daily. I would like to share a couple stories about people who found this difficult, to give up the human focus and the faith in what does not sustain you. One woman asked for help. She was in a very bad place with her Parkinson's disease. And she was hanging and clinging on to her family for her survival. She felt she could not survive without her family being there. It really was her needing to control them for her survival. It was not that she needed them from a loving position, but it was hanging on to them for her survival. And if she controlled them, then she would be, she thought, emotionally secure. They would sustain her. Looking to people to sustain you does not work. Sadly, she could not detach and realize God is her sustenance. And people are like icing on the cake. So we enjoy our family. We have fun with our family. We go to visit them, and we have picnics and parties and laugh, and we have a great time. But emotionally, it's necessary to find a faith that will be sustainable. And people are, of course, in their own path. So to find a higher consciousness of love and move out of the fearful insecurities was not possible for her. Sadly, her Parkinson's disease is getting worse. Another true story. This man was an alcoholic. He inherited a great wealth, and he turned that wealth into being a multimillionaire. That was his security, not people, but money. Money gave him a sense of identity and a sense of status. He was better than the others. One of his comments would be, I wonder what the poor people are doing today. Sadly, that was his comment of how he lived his life. Because he did not buy a Cadillac that would be too ostentatious, he bought a high-end Buick, and therefore he felt he could blend in better. So you see, you know, in financial situations, he gave a great deal of money to places and blabbed a great deal about it, trying to show how wonderful he was with his money. And they were useful places that he did offer his help financially. But you see, in his heart, it was all coming from the wrong place. He was not trusting God. And at one point, made a phone call and said to this person, what do you mean there's more to life than money? He could not exchange a God consciousness of love from his badly abused childhood and change it into something that would really help him to live a wonderful life, and he died of his alcoholism. His God became money. In the woman's case, her children and family became her God. The first commandment is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. In the third dimension, you have made gods of anything around you you're still connected to. You're focusing on it more than God. And it has become an idol. And if it means more to you than surrendering and learning that you need to have a focus and a faith in a higher consciousness, a power of love. And that's what was in the song today. Love is the most powerful thing that you can focus on and you can involve yourself with and be part of and enjoy and be your experience. So as you move into fifth dimension, you are focusing on the truth of who you are. You are focusing on what's reality, and that deep reality within can finally come to the surface and manifest. Your needs will be met. God's grace is in the fifth dimension. So as you are in that new faith of higher consciousness, then God can supply. He can meet your needs. He can supply you with all the things that are necessary and not necessarily what you thought would be important for you, but are necessary for your life, and even better, your cup can run over. It just might appear in different ways than you thought of it. There is a story I'd like to share about a woman who came for healing, and because she had been given a diagnosis that was terminal, but she wanted to find a way to have that healed. And it ran in her family. Yes, some people do think hereditary means you can't change it, but you can. And she chose to change her mindset about that and not believe as her family did. She didn't think she had to die from it just because others in her family had. So in her coming for help, she found some answers from John, myself. She got help from Matt, and she also did something extremely important that all of you can do. She started meditating on a daily basis. She would even go to the ocean for deep meditations because she felt she connected even stronger at the ocean. And she told her family she did not want any negative attitudes around her at all. They would have to change her attitudes if they were going to be around her. Now, her husband at first was not thrilled, but he decided that it was the best thing to do for all circumstances. And over time, she went to the doctor, and he said, oh, there is an improvement in your condition. And then she went to the doctor for a yearly checkup about her situation, and he said, I think I misdiagnosed you. Love heals. Why would you want to hang on to something that is not going to give you life and love and prosperity and abundance, which the fifth dimension is about? Why would you want to hang on to something that is not going to help you have the life that you came to enjoy, to experience, and have all the wonderful benefits of the love that you came to learn and what came here for learning, so that it actually could happen in your lives? Why sabotage yourself before the finish line? Why leave before the miracle happens? You see, anything that you're thinking of that is not in line with a loving way for yourself. If you're doubting or mistrusting, or you seem to have trouble thinking that you deserve a better life, give that up for a life that you will just be amazed about. You never know what your needs will be. And if you are in tune with God, and if you raise your faith into the God consciousness, the Christ consciousness within, you're looking within for your answers. You might not even know what they are. This room you're sitting in was not really part of Marilyn's plan. Marilyn was afraid to build a room. She knew she needed an art studio. She knew she needed a place to hold classes and channel. In those days, she didn't know it was channeling, but the classes she was aware of. And she was afraid, without a husband or a man in her life to take care of the construction, she was afraid to follow through and have this room actually built. Lo and behold, she had a business partner who, without asking her permission, started to enclose this covered patio, and then left in the middle of the process. They parted ways. And there she was, this half-built room, and she didn't have the ability, she thought, to take care of finishing it. Fortunately, she had a contractor friend who said, I can do that for you. And in achieving the final completion of this room, interestingly, the payments on her house did not increase through the reorganization of her mortgage. And she ended up with the room she needed, and it wasn't because she could even take the first step. God just kind of came in and took care of it for her. So you don't know what you need, and sometimes just take that first step is scary. Maybe how do you step forward into that new experience that will actually provide a better life for you, or a better way of handling your life? So trust and faith is very important, and today you have a choice to say, I choose to trust and have faith in the universe. It will support me in all things. You see, the upper consciousness, higher consciousness is actually an energy. It's an energy that you can focus on and change yourself, and that's what we mean is it's an inside job. You can choose in your meditations to raise into higher consciousness, and the longer and more often you do that, you will find the results manifest around you in a very productive way. The beautiful part of moving into fifth dimension is it's bringing heaven to earth. It's bringing the love of God into the environment of where we can enjoy it as a human being in a physical form. You do not have to die to go to heaven in a fifth dimension. You are living in heaven on earth. If you saw the movie All Is Lost, the movie showed how Robert Redford happened to play the part of a man on a sailboat that was sinking, and no matter what he did to try to keep it from sinking, things gradually did get worse and worse. He was losing his material grip on his life. The material things around him were literally at the end sinking into the waters, as he is in a life raft, and trying to get acknowledged to be picked up by ships that life raft. His last dying wish for survival also went into the waters, and Spirit came and took into his spiritual realm. You do not have to lose everything to turn to God. You can do it at any time. And I'm not talking about just this or that. I'm talking about every part of your life. When Marilyn got her divorce, she turned her money, her house, and her car over to God. Things went quite well for her at one point. She just tried to be a good, trusted servant, to keep care of the repairs, to keep things moving and operating and in good, like they needed to be, and so everything that was taken care of appropriately and in working condition. All of a sudden, her life went into chaos, financially. Where is this coming from? I've turned my money over to God. I tried to do the right things. And all of a sudden in her meditation it came to her, but she had never turned some income property over to God. So when she made that decision, it did take a couple years to unwind the difficulties that had accumulated. But now it is back in good working order, good orderly direction. Things work out very smoothly and well because she's recognized something she still had not given to God, because it's all God's in the first place. We're just here to be trusted servants. It's not our money. It's energy for us to share with others. It's energy to take care of our lives so that we can take care of our needs, wants, and help share with others. So money is not how much you have, it's what do you do with it. Are you using it in loving ways? Are you providing help for the homeless? Are you helping relatives that maybe need some help and assistance if it's for the right reasons? So you see, if they aren't helping themselves, then it's not appropriate to help them because then you're enabling, but that's another story. I just want to say today that the choice to have that heaven on earth experience, you do not have to die, you do not have to go down with a sinking ship. You have a choice to say, God, I choose to have a higher consciousness in you because you will meet all the requirements, all the necessary things that are important in my life to continue helping myself and others in a loving way, an unselfish way, a way of unconditional love, that I am there to support others as they've supported me. And I am passing it on to those that have already helped me. I pass it on to the new people still looking for your love, showing them that they're loved too, and I'm sharing that energy, and what you share expands, and that's the fifth dimension. God is energy and expansion. When you learn that you have all you need, and you can share it with others, that's your cup runneth over. And it's coming and will be continuing to flow into your life. There will always be enough, more than enough. So you do not have to worry about the human parts of your life. You have moved into a planet that will provide. You are now at a time of some people learning that. Some people have, as you in this room, have a better understanding of that. In the next 10 years or so, it will manifest even more so in your lives. So I suggest that just do the next loving thing for yourself and others, and leave the past behind, leave the third dimension out of your focus, out of your meditations. Focus on the presence of God. That's the most important thing in your life. That's all there is. The reality is there. It always has been. And as you move out of the past where the pains and the concerns of survival are no longer even necessary, because you've moved into the eyes of God, where you see everything is good. It all came together for everybody's learning just exactly as it was supposed to. I leave you today knowing that you are all children of God, always have been, and to claim your birthright is a marvelous choice. And as you do that, your lives will smooth out even more so. Trust the universe. Know that you are cared for. Your spiritual help is around you constantly. Your guides, your angels, and your masters are showing you the paths of where you need to proceed and how you can be of help by being a good example, if nothing more, that you have overcome your adversities and that you have found a life that is truly, truly heaven on earth. Join me in that understanding, in that new place that you are moving into, knowing how loved you are, and that you have always been taken care of, even in your deepest, darkest moments when you thought it was really, really bad and scary. Your angels brought you to this point today. You made it. It's funny how people would say how bad it was in the Depression, but they're still talking about it and alive talking about it. You know, they made it. They made it through, and you will too. So God bless you all. May you journey on your path, knowing that there are others with you still learning, and that you're learning continually, always in spirit, as you move forward into loving yourself and open your heart to the total love of God. And when your heart is totally open and the flow is flowing, You have moved into a new universe of love, compassion, forgiveness, and caring. May God bless all of you, knowing what wonderful, wonderful spiritual beings you are growing into. Your journey is still ahead of you. You're doing well. Just keep moving, taking the next step forward. You will be on the right path because you are here today. You know enough to not sabotage yourself, but to move forward in the love that is truly there for you. May God bless you forever, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, John.